Hi, everyone. Welcome to April's Collective Energy Report, Messages from the Sage. Um, can you believe I'm actually getting it done within the first week of the month? I'm so proud of myself. April is, in my opinion, the best month of the year. But I have to say that the messages for this month are pretty dire. So hold on, just hang on. The message is to persevere. So for anyone new tuning in, I use several different tools to get a very rounded type of message. I use the I Ching, I link it to the gene keys, I pull some cards, and I get words to really kind of give us a real rounded, full energy report. And if I say so myself, they've been pretty darn accurate so far. So the card that I decided to draw a card. I don't normally do that, but just to see if there was I felt there was additional energies that needed to be spoken about for this month of April. And the card that I drew was number 18, and these are based on Hebrew numerology. And it was turned upside down. And the message is, at the shadow frequency, is arrogance and suffering. So this month, we are going to be faced with a lot of suffering based on our arrogance. And our arrogance will be described in the hexagram that was pulled. Now this Hebrew number 18 that I drew, you see, it came up as the shadow as arrogance and suffering, but that arrogance and suffering is due to us talking our talk of being on the path of righteousness or choosing the path of spirit, of being in harmony with the whole, but we're not actually walking our talk, okay? So I think that April is going to be a real critical time in a lot of people's lives, even the spiritual people, that we have to stop, and maybe I'm being guilty here, stop telling people what to do or how to live their lives, and just walk your talk. And looking at yourself to see where you've added to the shadow of arrogance and suffering on this planet. So, yeah, so don't just talk your walk, walk your walk. I don't know if that made sense. Okay, so the hexagram that I got for this month is hexagram 39, 39 line 3. And in the I Ching, that is called meeting with obstructions. And that couldn't be any more true. I mean, the whole world is on a global lockdown. And we are being met with obstructions. And the gene key associated with that, its shadow frequency, is called provocation. So I do feel that there's going to be a lot of provocation happening this month, a lot of maybe violence erupting. I know it's already happening. I know that the abuse hotlines are busier than ever because people are in this lockdown mode. There's lots of fear, financial fear is probably the greatest fear for many people on this planet. And so they're reacting. And I think a lot of people, and it's already happening in the States, I don't know about other countries, that they feel like their freedoms are being violated, and so they're provoking law enforcement and all this sort of stuff. But I think it's going to get even worse during this month. So let's all be very, very careful. So let's see, shall I talk about the words that I got? Were really, I decided I got a word, and then I kind of questioned it because I thought, you think you know a true definition of a word, but then when I go to look them up, there's other meanings that really have a lot more depth. So I really like getting the words. But anyway, I got a word, and then I felt like there needed to be another one. So the first word that I got was opportunistic. And I thought, oh, I don't know. This doesn't seem to relate. Did I get the wrong word? Well, we all know that during this time, it's an opportunistic time, but it's unfortunately, I think it's going to be an opportunistic time for people to exploit the circumstances, right? They do things without any moral principle. Okay, so there's going to be a lot of provocation and a lot of opportunistic things happening. But also, I didn't know this, opportunistic has a meaning in ecology and in medicine. And in ecology of plant or animal, opportunistic means the ability to spread quickly in a previously unexploited habitat. So if we're speaking virus, then aren't these words perfect? This virus is going to be spreading in unexploited habitats, in new habitats. And in medicine, it says that these microorganisms or infections typically affect the immune system of the depressed, or a depressed immune system. So, opportunistic, absolutely the perfect word, because we know that this virus really feeds on depressed immune systems, and that it's infecting previously uninhabited areas of life. So what a perfect word. But the other word that I got was rarefied. And I really felt that word come in really beautifully. And my first thought was, oh, this is a rare event. But then once again, I looked it up, and rarefied really has to do with air, and that it's something of high altitudes or something that is very less dense, and that it deals with the lives and concerns of non-ordinary people. It is more esoteric in nature. And what I got when I inquired about this is, during this month, there's going to be really rarefied spiritual energies and opportunities for all of us. And this goes back to that number 18, that it's time. This is going to be the opportunity for people to choose to follow spirit or the path of harmony or not, or to follow God, whatever word you want to use. This is the opportunity right here in this month, while we're at the height of what we perceive as our suffering, to make a choice. So this is a very rarefied, energetic month. And it's not going to just stop at April. It's going to continue on. So I thought those were absolutely perfect words. And I hope you do too. Okay, so hexagram 39. I am going to read a little bit because, as usual, the sage says it better than I do. And I'm using the Anthony and Moog interpretations of the I Ching. So hexagram 39, meeting with obstruction. It says, here the sage shows how the cosmos responds in a loving way when the passage ahead has become blocked with obstructions. All obstructions are caused by a person's failure to heed warnings to him given to him by his common sense. So you can see where all of our common sense, we've not been using our common senses, our feeling body, for lifetimes here on this planet. And this is a cosmic intervention for all of us to return to our common senses. And our common senses involve, yes, our feeling body, but all of those innate, natural qualities that all of us have, like loyalty, integrity, doing the right thing. Those kinds of things are embedded in our common senses. So we have not paid attention to the messages of our common senses. So we're being met with obstruction. We're being halted. Okay, so obstructions are caused by a person's failure to heed warnings given to him by his common sense against a problematic situation. We're in a problematic situation. The first hints come as a small obstruction. Normally, it would cause the person to pause and ask the sage for help, God or source, or to inquire within. But if his ego overrides this and he becomes arrogant, then the obstruction increases in severity and the person begins to create a fate. And this is done, the sage has intervened to prevent further damage, okay? So what is happening, this massive obstruction on this planet collectively is really a gift from the universe, halting us to look at how we have caused the ills and the suffering on this planet. Okay, let me see here. And it says here, the sage asks us to be careful not to see or resist the obstruction, not to look at the virus as something that we have to, this is kind of tricky, not something that we have to fight against or make a culprit, okay? Or seeing it as an obstruction rather than a gift or a lesson. Okay, so what does line 3, let's see. Here's why it says not to fight against this virus. In all cases, striving against obstruction is counterproductive. Obstruction can only be resolved through identifying and transforming their causes that come from the realm of consciousness, okay? And some of the ways or the spells in consciousness that we have created this virus, this obstruction that we're facing right now, these are some of the spells that are embedded in the collective sphere of demonic consciousness. These are all false beliefs. Terms like life is a vale of tears, life is suffering, there is no help available, you have to do it all yourself, it's a dog-eat-dog world, no pain, no gain, you don't get anything for nothing, you are condemned by your own mistakes and you have to take sides. It's all for the best, and God did this to you for a reason. These are all, and there's many different forms of these sayings that we've all said in some way or the other, and we kind of believe. And this has perpetrated the intensity of our current obstruction. So take a look at those beliefs if you have them. Now, the specific message from the sage is line 3. And it says, this line is informing a person that by telling another what to do, he is creating obstructions in his life. Now, this kind of confused me when I got this. And when I inquired to what the sage was trying to say, and I kind of was like shocked when I heard this, but he's indicating that the response of all the governments telling us what to do and how to fight this virus is actually going against cosmic principles. I know, sounds crazy, right? And it's going against cosmic principles because we are seeing it as an enemy, something that we have to fight against, and that we're taking this fight from the view of conventional collective measures. And these measures, by kind of locking people up and telling them what to do and what they can't do, violates their own common sense of integrity, that you put a spell on people that they don't know how to function the best in these types of situations. But we all know that that's not true because we see it every day, all the beautiful people that follow their feeling consciousness, and they're doing all these beautiful acts for others. So we're being met with huge obstructions this month. There's going to be lots of suffering because of our arrogance in telling others what to do, taking conventional measures to fight against this obstruction without looking at the causes that come from the realm of consciousness, which means all of the false beliefs, how each and every one of us has created this virus in the world. And the virus that life is meant to be suffering, you know, it's karma. What you do comes back. All these kind of sayings about life on this planet, that it's suffering and that we have to do it all ourselves. We totally have forgotten. Like right now, every government should be coming together and calling upon their inner source of wisdom, or their country's faith. I mean, I guess, you know, state and religion aren't connected, but really this is the time. So we have to do it individually, okay? We have to stop taking things personally at this point. This is a collective issue in the realm of consciousness, and it's time for us to choose to follow the path of integrity, of spirit, and trust in spirit, right? I've just gone blank, so that's enough for now. Okay, so meeting with obstruction this month. It's okay, we're gonna have a little bit of suffering, a little bit more suffering, but let's just ask for help and trust that it's all going to be okay. All right, take care.